Before we get to the episode intro, I have a question for you, the audience. You want to know how both Bubba and today's guest feel when pulling into a Waffle House? There's only one way to describe it.
Alright.
Yeah, you know these guys like their Waffle Houses and Cracker Barrels. And White Castles, and I guess I better stop there because that list is never ending. Whew. On this episode of the What Is Up podcast, Bubba finishes up part 2 with Matthew McConaughy. Not the Matthew McConaughey, but a pretty close second nonetheless. Matt offers a life hack for coffee drinkers that will blow your mind. When ordering, Matt says ask for it at Kids Temp. That way you can drink it right away. Who's got time for sipping anyhow?
I enjoy waiting for it to cool off.
Quiet, Jimmy, no one cares. He also gives some advice that is guaranteed to improve the attitudes and interactions in our culture. He says it like this.
Just show some gratitude, some grace, and a little bit of space, and things will be much better.
Okay, maybe not like that, but you get the idea. We will see how well they do with that, considering they will be getting to some pretty hot topics during the What Is Up segment. Stuff like, why do we always see race and gender in everything nowadays? And men in women's sports. This should be good. Or at the very least, entertaining. But let's be honest, if it goes bad, it's actually fun to listen to.
Oh boy!
Here's your host, Bubba Seaman.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. What is up? Welcome back to part 2 with none other than Matthew McConaughey. All right. No, still not? Oh, I tried it again. Okay. No, not that Matthew McConaughey, but a close second. Matt, what is up, man?
Man, what's going on? Glad to be here. Appreciate the time.
That's right. You got invited back again. Second week, right here. That's the magic of editing. It's only been 10 minutes. But if you guys missed Matt's part 1, be sure to go back to last week's episode and listen to it. We got to reminisce about a lot of good memories working together. You're going to hear Matt give a pretty compelling pitch on what you should have your kids involved in if you're looking to bank money for college. Youth bowling's where it's at. That's it. We had a lot of good stuff in there. We talked about the movie Country, filmed in Dunkerton, and just how his family was a part of that. No, Matt didn't get a role. He wasn't the kid. Who was that? That was obviously when was Country? It was early 80s, maybe?
It was early 80s. I was, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe.
So the Dunkerton kid that starred in it was probably 10.
Levi Knievel is who it was.
There we go.
Levi
he was the
Knievel.
kid in Country, and that was the only person in Dunkerton.
I think so.
Cast,
I think so, yeah.
Right? There were some extras, and so, yeah, hopefully by the time you guys are hearing this, I got to the bottom of if it was filmed around Dunkerton, why wasn't the Dunkerton co-op in it instead of the Reedland co-op? And hopefully I got to the bottom of that, and I'll be able to share that with you guys on a future episode. Man, I don't get that, but we'll get to it. You can hear all about that kind of stuff back in part 1, so go back and check it out. This week, we're going to get into his segments. We're going to have some fun, but we're also going to get a little serious towards the end. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready
Let's
to
go.
do this? It's not the hot seat, but okay. Matt sent me back in his notes. He said, I'm open to anything for the segments. And when a guest tells me that, I'm like, yeah, but pick something. Please be prepared. Be ready. Let's do this. I don't want to surprise you because when you're surprised, all you get is, and that's not what we do here. This is not second-rate content. This is a mediocre podcast trying to be above average. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. I said this was a new segment alert. I teased it last week. So this is going to be called This or That. This or That. So this you're not ready for because I want your honest opinion right here. So we're going to get into it. Everyone knows what this or that is, right? Coffee or tea?
Coffee all day long.
Hot or iced?
Hot, but see, you're nearly a third option because people are going to make fun of me, and I get made fun of at home all the time. I want hot coffee, but I don't want it hot. I want it like drinkable.
Away.
I'm not a coffee sipper. I'm a coffee drinker.
Okay.
So when I go to like Scooters or shout out Fat Cup Coffee. Yeah.
There we go.
Fat Cup Coffee Company. Proud sponsor of Ainsley McConaughey's bowling career. So there you go.
Nice.
Anyway, there's my plug. Cheap plug.
Yeah, that's all right.
I always ask for it at kids temperature. Like, cause if you go to some place and get like a hot cocoa, and you tell them it's for a child, they will make it cooler. So that's how I order my coffee, is at Kids Temp.
Life hack right there, brought to you by Matthew McConaughy, courtesy of the What Is Up podcast. That is genius.
Yep, Kids Temp.
That is genius. I love it. Okay, movie or book?
Audiobook.
Okay.
I feel like I have to classify all of these because
that's a tough one.
To like have the time to sit down and read, like I don't feel like I have much of that.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it in a little bit, but like when I make long work trips in the car, I am definitely an audiobook guy.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, some of these are just going to be, well, it depends. It just depends. Yeah, I'm a coffee guy in the winter, but then in the summer I like iced tea. So, yeah, that's okay. If you got to clarify. That's fine. But okay, travel or stay at home?
Man, I'm gonna say stay at home, but I travel a lot. We're gone a lot, but I do really enjoy my time at home.
Okay, drive or fly?
Drive.
Sweet or salty?
Probably salty.
See, for me, I just say both. It just both.
Neither one's wrong. I mean, it's not bad.
Neither one's wrong. I ain't gonna turn either down. Okay, if you're entertaining, would you rather? Host or be a guest? Would you rather have people over, or would you rather go to someone's house?
Oh, I'd rather be a guest. Yeah, way less work than that. What do you need me to bring? Yeah,
right. That's it. I love potlucks. Date night or double date? Like, do you and Shauna like to go out by yourselves, or do you got to have another couple to jazz it up a little bit?
We actually do a fair amount of both of that, really. Yeah. I mean, we've got a group of friends that we do love to spend a lot of time with, a couple different groups of friends, but there's a lot of Friday nights where it's just her and I to go roam the countryside and go find a place to eat or something.
Okay, we're going to pause here just so I can, because this is stuff, we're close to the same age. It's not like we're experts on this stuff, so sometimes I like to know what other people my age are experiencing. Me and Sarah found out, and it wasn't recently, it probably started 5-10 years ago. We go on a date by ourselves, you get in the car, you start driving, and it's quiet. Like, we don't know what to talk about. So we started inviting other couples. Paul and Gwen Reardon, shout out to them. We're like, we got to invite other couples to like go on dates with. And then we just chatter all night long.
Sure.
But when it's by ourselves, and Sarah, and we'd know it. We'd get 1 mile outside of Fairbank and Sarah would go, and we just laugh about it. Like, we got to figure this out because there's going to come a day where there aren't kids in the home anymore. And husband and wife got to figure out, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to communicate? What are we going to do to, keep it fun? And did you guys ever experience that when you're by yourselves? Like, there ain't much to talk about, or no?
Oh, sure we do. I mean, the nice thing about it, I don't want to say the nice thing is there's a lot of times that like we don't get to spend a lot of time together.
So like, you catch up.
Like between working a second job or, like during the bowling season, it's like gone a couple of nights a week, that kind of stuff. So there's lots of times where like, we might like go to bed together, but
that was it.
But that, so there's lots of times we don't get a chance to really talk through the week sometimes. It just,
okay.
So sometimes it's nice to just be the two of us to talk. And then for example, we were just gone on vacation for 13 days together, just very recently, and it was cool to go find a little bit of alone time too. So man, we've been together a lot, but so
that makes perfect sense. That's right. Yeah. Okay, now we'll get to the real serious ones. Ranch or barbecue? Or you're gonna say neither?
I'm probably gonna say both. I really like them mixed together, which sounds really crazy, but it's
ranch and barbecue together.
It's good. It's good. Barbecue, like go to B-Dubs on Thursday. Shout out Buffalo Wild Wings if you want to sponsor. I mean, I know a guy, but boneless by BOGOs on Thursdays.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get like honey barbecue wings and put them in ranch. I mean, it's it's dumb good.
Wow, that's good. Oh, that's good. Cut. Let's take a break for lunch.
Yeah, I need lunch,
wings.
Right?
Can we get somebody in the green room in here, please? Okay. Pickles or relish?
Pickles.
Cracker Barrel or Waffle House?
Waffle House. And I can't even believe that's a question. I mean, I know we have Cracker Barrels relatively close, but if you at all follow me on any kind of social media and I'm close to a Waffle House, it's an if you know, because I'm going to be there.
Heck yeah.
I travel to Columbus, Ohio a fair amount for work. And there's a place on the other side of Indianapolis. I can't remember the name of the town. Plainfield, Greenfield, something like that. But it's on 70, just on the east side of Indianapolis. There is a Waffle House and there is a White Castle.
Ooh.
And those are like, if you know me, you know me, and those are like my two things. So one direction gets Waffle House, the other direction gets White Castle every time I go.
Dang. Yeah. I think the closest Cracker Barrel is up by the cities, just south of the cities.
There's a Cracker Barrel in Davenport. There's one in the Quad Cities. Yep.
Okay, well,
Yep.
there you go. That's your direction. Yeah, I don't shake a stick at either of them. Excellent. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Okay. Chicken or beef?
Beef.
Fast car or big truck?
I drive a Murano, neither one.
We all get the mom van stage at some point where...
Probably a fast car if it's a fast car that I fit in.
Okay. Weights or cardio?
Man, this guy's got the jokes too. He
Just
didn't even
say
know
hate 'em both.
Neither. Pass.
Gum or mints?
Gum.
Shower at night or in the morning?
In the morning.
That is, that's hard for me to understand. Over, now this is probably the most controversial one. Over or under with the paper towels and toilet paper? Do you like it to hang over or do you like it to hang like under?
Oh yeah, you shouldn't have to find it. So it should be over. It should be in the front.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you disagree with that, I don't know you. You're dead to me. Somebody email me and explain to me the logic of letting it hang behind. So you got to reach for, you can't see it sometimes. You let it hang over the front so you can see it. Come on, people. What is up with that way of thinking? I don't know. But okay, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed that new segment. We're going to surprise them here. We're going to do some Gen Z slang. Guys like us, we just don't know this kind of lingo, but we should. So we have kids. We should know this stuff. Let's find it. Okay. And I won't do the whole big list for you. Do you think you're going to do well at this? You think you're going to bomb?
I think this is going to be a colossal failure and probably really good for content because it's going to be pretty funny.
Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. All right. Riz. Any idea what Riz means? You ever heard Ainsley say Riz?
No clue. Now, see, now Ainsley speaks to me like an old person because she knows that's how I'll understand. Like, I don't know how her kids, I don't know how they talk to each other. Like, I don't.
You don't pick up on any of that at the bowling alley with the kids.
I probably should, but I don't.
Okay, Riz is short for charisma.
Oh,
so if they got charisma, so that one's actually kind of logical. Some of them I don't understand what they mean.
Some of this stuff I'm gonna have to work into my broadcast eventually.
Yes.
This is good stuff.
Oh yeah. Next thing you know, Waterloo Bucks is gonna be like the Savannah Bananas because Matt starts bringing up all this Gen Z slang.
I'm feeding Ellen all kinds of good stuff to give in between innings.
Yeah. Okay. No cap. You know what no cap means?
Oh, see, I do no cap. Yep. No cap's no lie.
All right, so we got one.
It's funny. That's actually a line that I use a lot. So,
well, that's Gen Z slang. They came up with it. You got it.
Can I stick in a story here?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at Junior Gold, which is a big national bowling tournament last summer, and they have an opening ceremonies, and it was at a baseball stadium in Indianapolis.
Okay.
So anyway, there's a group of kids that we know and the parents from Omaha, Council Bluffs area. That we know, and they all had like different Gen Z slang shirts on.
Oh, cool.
And one of them was no cap, and the other one was facts. Oh. So that is a line that, shout out my buddy Brandon, Bestie
Nice.
Brando. That is a line that, and Eric Smith too. Those are lines that we use all the time. No cap and facts.
I
think the kids think it's funny.
Yeah, they do. They do. You push it too far, and then they're embarrassed. You got to find that sweet spot.
Right.
Alpha.
Omega.
A good Bible man like you is gonna say that.
The start. I don't know.
Alpha. It's more like the macho term, like alpha. You're the top dog.
Oh, and I've heard that then. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah. See, good content.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna press you with this one. Gyat.
Gyat.
Gyat. Yeah. Gyat.
Nope.
That is the rear end on a female. She got a nice gat.
Oh.
Don't know where they came up with that, but that's what they're using it.
If I told my wife that, she'd probably slap me.
Correct. We don't use that.
Even if I talk to her, if it's about her, she's so proud. What do you mean by that? Pow.
Okay, bussin'. You know what bussin' means?
Oh man,
you kind of vaguely say,
yeah,
okay,
I've heard that, but
I think it's an older one. I think it's probably on its way out, or it's already out. But I think it means like it tastes good or it's real good. I've heard it used with food a lot. Like if that food was good, you say, man, that food was bussin'.
Okay.
Right, James? Is it just about food or can it be about anything? Oh, it can be about anything. I've only heard it reference to food.
I love how we got to get references from the green room.
Yeah, that's the peanut gallery over there.
Is this for sure right? Am I giving good content here or not?
Yeah, he likes being he likes taking pride in knowing I've heard every episode before it's released. He's audience member number one.
Instant fact check.
That's right.
We don't need Snopes or nothing. We got James.
Nope. All right. Let's see another one here. Slay.
Oh, that Slay that eats. Yep, that's good.
Oh wow, see, I do. I have Slay/8. So you got
I know that one.
Okay.
Yep.
Last one. Let's do. I'm kind of out of them, I guess. Simp.
Simple, easy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what you'd think. That would make sense.
Yep.
Simp. Isn't that kind of like when you're trying to impress a girl or something? You're a simp. You're doing too much.
You're working
you're trying
too hard.
Too hard.
Okay.
How does that relate to? I don't know where they come up with this
I don't know.
stuff.
That's probably me all the time. I try too hard all the time.
Yeah, but we don't got anybody to impress.
That's right. Yeah.
I came across this thing the other day that said, and this is one take home to your wife today for sure. It said, speaking of trying too hard or whatever, but it was an Instagram post, and it said it was for men. I do a lot of follow a lot of pastors or Christian men, influencers, whatever, just because they give you good encouraging stuff to think about, to be a good leader, good husband, good dad. And this one came across and it said, just think about this, guys. Your kids love you because you're their dad. Your parents love you because you're their son. Your wife loves you because she chose to love you. She wasn't born with you. That's next level. We don't have anybody to simple. Our wives chose us. They at some point in time they actually wanted us, or they settled. Either way, you look at it. But I was like, man, that puts it in perspective. Man, and if you
felt sorry for me, that's a line.
Chose us, settled, or felt sorry. It could have been any one of those three. But that's it. We don't got a simp anymore. We're settled. Okay, there we go. You survived, man. You survived the tough one.
I was 1 for 6. I did okay.
That's no. In baseball terms, you'd be riding the pine pony. 1 for 6. You got 2 in there, I think, but that's tough. Okay, Pastor Tommy's segment. Let's do this. If there was any moment in history, whether biblical, not biblical, American history, world history, doesn't matter. If there was some event that when you get to heaven, if there's a movie theater room and you say, I want to see this, what did this look like? How did this go down? What is it?
Man, there's lots of things, but just my mind works in processes, right? Mm-hmm. And just the sure phenomenon of watching the Red Sea part when Moses puts the staff down, it just goes. I'm like, no, that doesn't work like that, but just the man, what I can't think of the term that I'm looking for, but just the sheer, I guess, awesomeness of it defies all logic that can happen, and just kind of shows the power of God and what He can do and how that works. But
you watch 10 Commandments every year or no?
No,
at Easter time?
No, I am not a 17-hour Charlton Heston guy. That's just not. Unfortunately, that's not my bag.
No, that was the big production. Sarah said Stan would make them watch it every year at Easter time.
I knew Stan was a good guy.
Yep. So that's it. That's the closest recollection you're going to get. They need to redo 10 Commandments at some point. I love the classic, but it is. Yeah, 17 hours. That's tough.
To do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. It's good for you. Watch it.
Right.
Okay. Stop complaining and do something segment. Now, I want to make sure the audience understands what this means. We're talking about adults here. Stop complaining about the younger generation and do something. If you had a chance to do something, if every youth in America was in your youth group, you were the leader, stop complaining. What's your message to them?
So I know kind of what I told you back when we were talking, I don't know however long ago it was when we decided that I was going to come on, and listening to understand and being okay with disagreeing. That's a big deal. But just listening to the question in and of itself, stop complaining and do something. Mm-hmm. When I referenced we were gone for 12 days in Detroit. Ainsley bowled 2 different national tournaments for 12 days, and the amount of social media, right? Social media is a blessing and a curse all at the same time.
Yeah.
Instead of just jumping to Facebook to complain and gripe about something, like a friend of mine, Dr. Jerry Weems from Hammond, Indiana, passed away little over a year ago, right at a year ago now. Father of a youth bowler, fantastic man, a man of faith. But anyway, so Dr. Weems always talked about gratitude and, just showing gratitude to people when they do something.
Yeah.
An event like what we were at for the last 2 weeks has a ton of volunteers, and to just jump on social media and start griping about people and what they do and what they don't, or maybe what they don't do or how they don't do things or this and that and the other, like just literally stop complaining and show some gratitude.
Sure.
Like utilize the grace that you have. Because I joke because the bowling centers we're in are super, super full. There's lots of people. It's crowded. You're running into people. A little bit of grace and a little bit of space, and everything goes okay.
Yeah.
Like, and just showing that gratitude to people, because it's easy to jump on TripAdvisor, on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever, to gripe about something. But we're quick to complain, but we're very slow to show gratitude and grace, and even make it public on top of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess that would be would be my thing.
I can resonate with that for sure. I think people are so quick to do that. A lot of those people have never led anything. They don't understand how quickly stuff can happen and get stuff isn't always going to go right. Give a little grace. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. So I'm a big proponent of letting people know when you got it right. I think that's a future segment.
100%.
Let people know when they got it right. Just letting them know that, man, that a little bit goes a long way. I'm with you 100%. That's a good one. Well,
and being part of the Scholarship Foundation, we run a lot of bowling tournaments. Like we run 7, 8, 9 tournaments a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you get some people that say, hey, thanks for doing this, whatever.
Right.
And that's something that I really impress upon Ainsley, is like showing that gratitude and go to the tournament director and say thank you.
Sure.
Because it's a labor of love for them. They didn't make any money this weekend. Yep. All they did was raise money to give money away.
Yep.
So really just show that gratitude toward people. And you go into a restaurant, it's really easy to be nice to the server. We talk, this is something that we talk, this is getting to be a long answer, but it's something we talk about a lot at work too. Just, you never know what somebody walked into that day. You don't know what baggage they brought with them to walk into their profession or their appointment or whatever the case may be. Like you have no idea what the backstory was 10 minutes before you started talking to them.
Yeah.
So why don't they get the opportunity? It's easy to say, drop your stuff at the door and come in and do your job. That's really easy to do, right?
Yeah.
I just live a life with a little bit of grace and a little bit of gratitude. And I promise if you choose to look at things positively, the world gets a lot more negative.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's awesome. Good stuff. Okay. Book reviews. So this is any book you've read recently or anything like that, if you want to give any kind of a shout out.
I mean, my memoir, my Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. That's funny, but if you know if you know any of the backstory on Matthew McConaughey, the book is really good, and the audiobook is narrated by him. So
nice.
It's really, really good. It's really, really good. I'm also kind of a history buff, so I love like the assassination of President Lincoln, the assassination of President Kennedy.
Okay.
If you do a little homework, there's a lot of symmetry between those two. And Bill O'Reilly, controversial or not, I mean, whatever.
Sure.
He lays out the facts well, regardless of what you think of him politically.
Yeah.
But his 2 books about killing Lincoln and killing Kennedy are really, really good. So those are, like I say, when I travel for work, I listen to audiobooks, and that's kind of the hook for me. And
nice.
I love autobiographies or factual things. I'm not much of a fiction guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the retelling of real life events.
Nice. Good stuff. Job rundown. We challenge the guests to try and remember every job they've ever had, or at least just go back from the beginning and run through them.
Man, I had to write them all down.
Yeah, it's a list.
So short order cook, detasseling, shout out Nesbitt Cadillac crew.
Yes.
That's called Rhino something.
It's called
now,
Rhinos now.
But back in the day when we were the Cadillac crew, and I was the first crew that rode a bus. Like the crews before me were in pickups. I was the first crew on a bus for Nesbitt's Cadillac crew. But anyway, I was customer service at APAC. I took long distance orders for AT&T. I also started and implemented our Harrah's hotel reservation, the Harrah's Hotel and Casino, all those third-party reservations.
Wow.
I was a customer service manager or director at GMAC.
Okay.
They outsourced their call center, which turned me into a cabinet maker at Omega.
Where'd they outsource it to? You remember?
Buffalo, New York, to a third-party call center, because they had their own call center, and then they outsourced it to a third party.
Okay, I gotcha.
And then I started my transportation career. I turned into an appointment setter to get off of hot floor, away from all the shenanigans and wasting my mind in a factory.
Yep.
So I was an appointment setter at Omega. I went to Target Distribution Center from there, and I worked for one of the trucking companies as a dispatcher.
Okay.
Then I went to the job I have now at ADS Recycling. I left there to start the customer service department at Warren Transport.
Okay.
Some things happened there, and I ended up back at Target for Ryder, a different carrier. That was working third shift. I realized real quick that third shift ain't me. Like I worked third shift for 2 years, and I never ever got comfortable in it. Like it never worked for me. So then I started commuting 40 minutes each way to work for a small trucking company in Conrad, Iowa called Green Products. Shout out to them. They were fantastic people to work for. And if it wasn't 40 minutes away, I probably never would have left. But it just, the commute was so, it just, I mean, I did that for like 3 years. It just finally kind of got to me. And at the time, then ADS Recycling was looking for the job I used to have. So now I'm back at ADS Recycling, and
nice.
That's what I do now. And then I do the bucks on the side, and
I like it. I like it.
Volunteer work with YBSF, and busy.
So now it's coming back to me. Yes, right. So you mentioned working at Omega doing cabinets and stuff like that. I think it was you had commented on Ryan Nesbitt's episode, or not Ryan Nesbitt. You commented on somebody's episode, possibly.
Somebody was. You were telling the story to somebody. It might have been Ryan's.
Okay. Yeah. And you said, because I remember seeing another one saying you remember a lot. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what it was. But yeah, that was it. That's a good job rundown, man. See, and I tell kids, get out there, do, job shadow, do some part-time jobs, whatever. Like, it's very tough to know at 17, 18 when you get out of high school. Yeah, this is what I want to do for sure. Like,
right.
Look at that variety you just laid out.
Yep.
It's okay to sample things.
Well, and I think you can, I'm sure you can attest to this too. Like, you much rather enjoy doing this than going to your real job. Yeah. Like the part-time jobs that either make money or maybe they're just volunteer work. Those are the jobs that are rewarding. Like I say my job with the YBSF. I mean, I'm the president of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation, but that's really just a title because in our charter we have to have the spots filled. It's not because I do anything more or anything less than anybody else, but it's a group of 6 or 7 of us that really just have a passion for making sure that we can provide back to our kids. So whether it's selling Super Bowl squares, whether it's we run a bunch of tournaments because as parents like myself, I talked about the big tournaments that we went to this summer, and junior gold specifically, like you have to qualify for that. So you have to have a qualifier. Well, we don't have any that are very close, so as Ainsley's been trying to qualify the last few, this was this 4th year she went. We had to try, Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Detroit, Omaha. Like you had to go a long ways to try to qualify for this thing. So we decided to start doing it on our own and making some money to give back to our kids. Nice. So that work and $60,000 back to our local kids over 4 years is pretty awesome.
That's
really.
A good work, man. Yeah. That is a good work. Wow. Yeah, I tell people all the time that I steal this line from this black pastor that I listen to on American Family Radio, 88.9 FM. They also have an app. Check them out. Good stuff. He comes on like our drive home in the afternoons, and he says, most of you listening, and he's your typical, and I know I've mentioned him before, but audience, you got to remember, not everyone listens to every episode, so I can repeat myself. It's okay. Don't have a cow. But he comes on in the afternoons when we're on our way home, and he says, in the typical black pastor voice, high energy, and he's just like, now I know some of you are on your way home from your part-time job. And, of course, now you're thinking, nope, he's got it wrong. He goes, your part-time job where you generate an income and you are headed home to your full-time job. Dad, husband. Yeah. Maybe you're not married. Maybe you're not a dad, whatever, that's fine. But you have other things that are more important. Your job is just where you generate an income, where you provide. Yep. The stuff we do outside of that, if it's got meaning to it, like that's powerful stuff. Like, your volunteer stuff there, all that. That's the more your heart is into it, the better it is, whether it's volunteering or foundations or whatever, podcasting, I guess. So good stuff there for sure. Okay, let's move on to the getting to know you segment. I will try and not speak as much, and we will run down this list. This is just, one question after another to help the audience get to know you. If you could meet anyone in the world, past, present, who would it be?
Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
And I am a lover of all Motown music. I was in Detroit and I didn't get to go to the Motown Museum. The tickets were sold out.
Oh.
So I didn't get to go, but that don't feel sorry for me. It's okay. I pay for XM radio every month to listen to Motown Station.
Wow.
Between that and Christopher Russo on Mad Dog Radio. But anyway, so Stevie Wonder, like he's so ridiculously talented and can't see. Like he can't see anything. Yeah. Like, so everything that all of his artistic interpretations are only from his own mind.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have anything visual to take in. So like and you see there's a number of performers that like have some kind of, disability, I guess, to put it that way. That have that ability to make them just accentuate the other skills that they do have.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be awesome to talk to Stevie Wonder and just hear about all his creative ideas.
That's a good one. That's deep. That's a good one. I like that question. All right. Anyone, let's see, in history, you had another person because Stevie's still alive.
Yes.
This next guy, you said anyone in history. So obviously we're saying someone who's not with us anymore. Who would that be?
President Nixon.
All right.
I am kind of a political science guy just by nature. I used to enjoy politics. Politics are too decisive now. But anyway, that's without being said.
They're too divisive now. It didn't used to be that way.
Right.
You could disagree, and that's fine.
You could talk. Yeah. Now we can't talk. But anyway, just to see like how the saturation or the obsession for power was so strong that led to the acts of Watergate.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's a 45-hour answer, but in reality, it's like really like what was it? Did it just pile on? Was it like a light switch? Like what was it? What was the need to have that so much that, well, this is what I'm going to do.
You had to break the law. And
did you do it, or did somebody bring you that idea? Like, and your commenter, your listeners probably going to roast me because I'm sure there's probably answers to a lot of the things that I don't know that I just haven't dug into.
Send them to me.
Yeah.
Send them to me.
But
email me.
But yeah, just how did it transcribe, and like what was finally like the straw that broke the camel's back that says, yes, we're going to do this.
Right. Yeah, so Chuck Colson was like one of his right-hand men or whatever, and Chuck Colson ended up doing some time or whatever, came to the Lord while he was in prison, I think, and he's got a good statement out there. I've quoted it before in sermons and things, and he said, you know how I know the resurrection of Jesus is true? He says, because people went to their grave proclaiming it. If it was a lie, and then he kind of pauses right there, and he says, I can't remember what it was, a dozen guys went down with that whole Watergate thing or so. Yeah. And he said, a dozen of America's most powerful men, they couldn't keep alive for like 48 hours or 72 hours. Like when the pressure came, they folded one after another.
Yep.
He said, the people, the disciples, the people that were claiming the resurrection of Jesus, they endured everything till they finally went down to take, to go in the dirt.
Right.
They never backed up from it. That's how you know the resurrection happened. You ain't going to suffer for a lie. Not for too long.
Right.
So I love Chuck Colson. I love that stuff. Shout out. Check him out. Good stuff. Okay. First car.
My dad had a 81 Silverado work truck with a 3 on the tree.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Any more of that is a theft deterrent system, because you see somebody jump in a car with a manual transmission. I don't want nothing to do with it. I can't move it.
What is that thing? Yeah.
So that's what I learned how to drive on, and then I had a 90 Dodge Dakota.
I remember that.
It wasn't club cab because it only had 2 doors, but it had like little fold-down seats in the back, and man, putting 4 of us in that thing, that was bad news for something.
Yep, that went up and down the hill in Dunkerton many times. I remember seeing that thing. Worst car?
We had a 2011 Chevy Traverse. That thing was...
Specific problems. Give me a couple.
So it was an LTZ with man, the look on your face is terrible because I saw one in the driveway. But anyway, so there was the power seat had a short in it, and it just continued to fry like the master fuse. To where like I had 60 amp fuses in the glove box just because if the seat moved or we hit a bump and something went haywire, like it wouldn't start, it wouldn't run, you couldn't stop it, it was a death trap. It was bad.
Wow.
So if Chevy's looking to sponsor, I'm really, really sorry. But Matthew McConaughy drives Lincolns, so shout out Ford Motor Company in Lincoln.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was we finally got that thing traded off and and I moved into something different. But man, it
wasn't Midnight Blue, and
no, it was
not that one out in the driveway.
No,
Good.
no, it was silver. But
yeah.
I won't tell you where we bought it. I won't tell you where we traded it.
We heard everything bad about don't buy a Traverse, don't buy an Equinox, when we were ready to finally trade away our Honda Odyssey, which we loved, we drove that thing forever. Like, there's no vehicle you can buy. There's no good review on any vehicle. I'm convinced there's no vehicle out there to buy. And I'm like, my goodness, what do we... Finally, I just said, okay, I'm just going to buy one. I don't care. The Traverse is horrible. The Equinox is horrible. They're all horrible. At some point, we need a vehicle.
Right.
So we settled on it. And, I got bashed at work, too. So Cookie knows what I'm talking about. He hates the Traverse as well. So, okay, favorite restaurant?
La Terraza in Traer, Iowa.
Shout out.
It is. When I worked for Warren, I traveled for work a fair amount, and we had a terminal in Laredo. So that was like as authentic could get.
Nice.
But La Terraza is the best Mexican food I've had outside of Laredo. It is worth the trip to Little Traer, Iowa to get yourself some Mexican food. And you won't go away hungry. It's big.
Yeah. Nice. And now we're closing in on lunch. I'm getting hungry. Favorite sports teams? Let everybody know. Where do you plant your flag?
Skull, baby. Vikings all day. Baseball obviously is my thing. I'm a Twins fan, unfortunately. It seems like we're just not quite good enough ever. Then a big fan of UNI Panthers. Follow UNI and all they do. We got season tickets for football and go to a lot of basketball games and stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
We got a kid, summer help at Lifeline, who's on the basketball team at UNI. But
nice.
he's made it clear to me. He's like, yeah, but I was a preferred walk-on. I'm a nobody. I got to go in. I got to work my butt off. Like, I might not ever see the court during a game.
Sure.
But I'm on the team. I like working hard. I like staying in shape. And I was like, and you're working? Like, you realize that's the kind of attitude of workers we want here. So if college doesn't work out, I hope it does.
Right.
But, man, it's hard to find good help these days. Okay. Now, this is the one that every guest's spouse really wants me to leave in here. What's one thing that you love or appreciate about Shauna?
Shauna is loyal almost to a fault. Like, she just doesn't give up on people. She is ridiculously passionate. Like I say, almost to a fault. Like, yeah. If you stay on Shauna's good side, Shauna will be your absolute best friend.
Okay.
Don't cross her though, because then like it flips that quick too, and she'll be the first one to tell you that. Like, don't make me distrust. But if you are in her circle, you have got like the best buddy ever, and she is always working toward making somebody better. Even she is so good at and something I'm absolutely terrible at is like checking up on people.
Okay.
Or just like I'll read a text message and like, oh yeah, I'll get to that, and then 3 days later I'll get another one and I'll be like, oh, I never hit send on the other one. I'm terrible at that. Yeah. She is the one, like, if there is even an inkling that something is cooking or wrong or congratulatory or anything, she is all over it and like on top of it. She is that lady. She is. So everybody needs a friend like Shauna.
Nice.
And there's only one of her, so I've already got her. So sorry, boys.
Find the next best thing, I guess. Oh, very good. Very good. Let's do hidden talent. You got any hidden talent that nobody knows about? Or
I like to sing.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm very good at it. I'm okay at it.
Yeah, pretty good.
I was a choir kid in high school. I went to Europe between my junior and senior year with a 150 person choir. So that was pretty fun. Getting to go to Europe to that. I love Taylor Swift's music. I hope I'm kind of glad you don't have a lot of listeners yet. I mean, they when this thing blows up in another few months and they're going to have to go back to find my episode. But yeah, so Ainsley and I went and saw Taylor Swift last summer. I got tickets to Minneapolis for her birthday. Christmas. And so we went and saw Taylor Swift last summer. So that was a good time.
Like, you like all of her stuff?
I like a
old
lot
stuff, new stuff?
I like a lot of her stuff. Like, she's as far, I'm going to say new genre music, like, she's one I can listen to. Like, she still sings. Like, she still produces music. It's not a lot of auto-tune and like outside influence stuff. It's really a lot of time. Like, she did, I'm going to get roasted for not knowing the songs, but like, she did a couple, like, just with the piano at the concert. It was amazing. Like, it's just great. She's just a fantastic musician.
Oh, okay. I see.
I also love quartet stuff. Like I referenced the Gaither song earlier, the Cathedrals. I love Southern gospel music, much to the chagrin of both of the people that ride in the car with me. So like I tend to not listen to that stuff with them because not only do I want to listen to it, I want to sing it along too. And then I want to go back and I want to hear it again and I want to sing a different part. And then I want to listen to it again and I want to sing a different part. So
I'm getting serious like Andy Bernard vibes right now, like from The Office. He loves singing that a cappella stuff or whatever, but Gaithers are good, man. That's good quality music there. I like it.
I can play the trumpet too.
I remember you were a music guy. I remember you were a singer. And didn't I ask you when I was helping out with the Dunkerton baseball team a couple of years after high school, didn't I have you come and sing the national anthem?
I did do that. Yep, I did do that.
Yeah.
So Ainsley was a trumpet player up until a year ago. She kind of schedule-wise she couldn't have band and choir. Like it just she was doing enough academic stuff that she couldn't do both.
Yeah.
So she opted for choir versus band, but she would bring something home like to practice and get ready for, and I'd just pick up a trumpet and start playing it, and she'd get so frustrated with me. Like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Been there, kid.
Right?
Been there. Put my time in.
And the Hudson School song is the same as the Dunkerton School song. It's on Wisconsin.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
So the first time she brought that thing home, and I just started playing it without looking at any music still, like that was like, what are you doing? I'm like,
muscle memory, sweetheart.
I have done this for more times than I ever care to remember.
Heck yeah. All right. One thing you're looking forward to this year?
Well, the next 3-4 months is going to be it's going to be stressful, a lot of fun. So with Ainsley being a senior, she's also an athlete. She's going to bowl collegiately. So just having gone through that recruiting process over the last 6, 8, 10 months.
Yeah.
I mean, we started taking college visits at the beginning of her junior year.
Okay.
So now we're kind of getting to the nitty gritty where, we've got coming out of the last tournament she was at and, a couple of weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, I guess. And having some more colleges more colleges reach out, kind of getting to what does she want in a school? What does she want in a school first and foremost, a community secondly, and then a bowling team third. And then kind of the level of which she wants to compete, whether it's NAIA, whether it's NCAA. Bowling is kind of confusing when it comes to that, but just I'm excited to see she wants to have her timeline kind of done by the first part of November. She'd like to be signed with whatever school she's going to go to before the high school bowling season starts in November. It's a winter sport.
Okay.
So from now till the first part of November, probably sometime in October, getting her committed someplace and then signing a national letter of intent and figuring out all the finances.
Cool.
I'm excited for that process because she's worked really hard to get herself in this spot, and she's finding out that it's really fun to be liked and it's really hard to tell people no. Like, and that's something that's difficult in life. How many conversations do you not want to have that, tell somebody, no, I can't help you. No, I can't do this, delivering unfavorable information, right?
That doesn't make anybody feel good.
No, it's hard to do, but it's a life skill that you need to acquire. And so that's what I'm excited for, specifically the next 3 or 4 months.
Cool. That's real life, man. That's what is up right there. That's cool. I'm excited to hear. Okay, number 1 problem we face, in your opinion?
The Insta life. That's what I call it. Like
social media life or just instant gratification?
No, it's like the Instagram life.
Okay.
So like, you scroll through somebody's story or their post, whatever they call it on Instagram. I'm an old guy. I'm a Facebook guy, but
right.
But you just people don't share their troubles. They only
the highlights, man.
They only show you the front door. They never show you the yard in the back that didn't cut. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like life is not always unicorns and rainbows. Like life has problems. Life has struggles, and it's okay. To use a mental health statement, it's okay to not be okay. Like that. Yeah. That's an acceptable. You and I come from a generation where you didn't talk about that stuff. You just kind of compartmentalize it and went on about your day. And well, all of us are putting up with it. So don't tell me about it. Just you put up with it too.
Deal with it.
And we don't do that anymore. Like it's okay to talk about those things.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something that I try to do. My social media really honestly revolves around. It seems like it revolves around the YBSF and it revolves around Ainsley's bowling anymore. I don't post a lot of stuff about myself.
Okay.
But like it's okay to share the struggles along with the champion moments.
Sure.
It's okay to have both of those.
Sure.
But don't get sucked into saying like, oh my gosh, their life is so great. Well, they got issues just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
They got to clean up the kitchen, they got to cook supper, they got to load the dishwasher, they got to they got to do all those other things too. Like the Barbie house just doesn't show up all the time.
No. Everybody's got issues. Everybody, even the ones you think got it all together. Yeah. That's a good message.
To kind of go back to that, we talked about gratitude a little while ago, like a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of grace, a little bit of space, just making sure that, like my wife is so good at, going and encouraging people about, whether it's happy birthday, whether it's, we've got a friend that she's battling sobriety, every day she posts something about, another day, one more day. And if Shauna doesn't hit that 90% of the time, I'd be amazingly surprised that, it isn't some kind of like or a thumbs up or a, hey, keep it up,
encouragement.
Share that encouragement. It doesn't have to be biblical. It doesn't have to be scriptural. I mean, we can lift people up regardless of how we see each other faith wise. You might not agree with some of the stuff that we talk about, but at the same time, you can still be uplifting and encouraging just in life.
Yeah. You can support people with, absolutely. Oh, I agree 100%. That's good. That's real good. Cut, guys. Let's stop for a second. Can we get the creative department? We're going to get a bumper sticker made. Life's not all unicorns and rainbows, courtesy of Matthew McConaughy.
Only if I get royalties. I got
in perpetuity.
I got to get a cut of nothing.
Yeah, 0%. Yeah, we'll give you 50% of zero, buddy. Okay. Actually, it's going to cost me money to print them up, so you're going to have to pay me if you want in. So that's fine. Okay, number one problem we face. Number one thing we got going for us, in your opinion?
I think it's the flip side of that. There is good community. Like surrounding yourself with the correct people, like is a good thing. I talked about him a little bit ago, but my buddy Brandon. If you need a mortgage, reach out to Brandon Steen. I don't know his email address, but Stride Mortgage, Brandon Steen, great guy. Okay. He's also a realtor too, so. Make sure he's your one-stop shop for all your real estate.
Do it
needs.
All in house, baby.
But my buddy Brandon, it doesn't matter like what the topic is. It could be family, it could be culture, it could be career, it could be bowling, it could be faith, it could be any number of things. Like Brandon's my guy. Like
cool.
He's my guy, and we've got. I mean, I've got other buddies too, and I don't want to just isolate him, but if I need something, all I got to do is pick up the phone.
Nice.
And he's going to be there. And I'm going to do the same thing for him. But, I guess everybody needs a Brandon. Like, find the person that you can, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a buddy, whether it's a coach, whatever, find somebody that you can hang your hat with. And when life gets hard, they're going to pick you up. And when life is going great, they're going to celebrate with you.
Yeah.
Go find that. If you don't have one of those, I guess this is going to be my PSA moment, probably one of many. But if you don't have one of those, you need to find one of those.
Yeah.
Because so many people they're not always genuine.
Right.
So make sure that where you put your effort and your energy is in a place that it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So community is the one thing we got going for us. There are so many good people in the world that surround yourself with the right people, and life gets a lot easier when you got some help.
Yeah. 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 Compare the two then. I say, is that online community or your Insta life, is that helping you? Is that putting you in a positive place, a positive direction? Is that encouraging you? Probably not near as much as the right people being around you. I agree 100%. Man, that's good. That's good stuff. And if you don't have one of those, like you said, get you one. Well, how about this too? If you don't have one of those, or maybe we should be thinking like, maybe we need to be one of those for somebody.
Bingo.
Because it's hard to find sometimes. So, yeah, I think, give a little grace. Like, start thinking, the Bible says, don't think more highly of yourself than you should, but regard others, you know what I mean, as more important than yourself. We don't do that. That's why we don't tell people we notice when they get it right or whatever. So, if we, not going to harp on it, but I still say the Bible gives the best answers. I mean, that's good advice right there. If we all live by that, how much better would it be?
Right.
100%. But that's tough, man. That's against our very nature to do that kind of stuff. So, okay. You chose How the Turntables. That is a shout out, Michael Scott, I guess. He always biffed that line. But it's basically he turns the tables. And you got some stuff you want to ask me that I will answer.
So I know from saying indoors together for Lord knows how long, you are all things Christmas music.
Yes, sir.
It could be Christmas in July, September, February, like everybody's tired of the radio station playing Christmas music when December 26th comes and you are grumpy Gus because you ain't got no more Christmas music.
It's over, man.
So tell me your favorite Christmas songs.
Yeah, I can't narrow it down. I can't. I like all the classic stuff. I like Bing Crosby. Perry Como. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I like the old guys. Jingle Bell Rock, rocking around the Christmas tree. I like that kind of, not so much old, but it definitely isn't new. And then I like the church hymns, man. I get choked up in December when we start singing these things at church or even on Christmas Eve. Silent Night. Hark the Herald. There's this band, Wren Collective. They do a version of Hark the Herald. It's on my playlist year round. It's really good. Lauren Daigle does a Christmas song, Light of the World. Tremendous. That girl's got a voice, and she's from Louisiana, so I love it. And then there's one that my family ridicules me for. It's not even a song. It's just like a narration, and it's called The Train by Celestial Navigations. I can't believe I'm putting this out there, because now people are going to go listen to it, and they're going to be like, what is this? And it's just this dude. It's just a narration of this dude on a train, like around Christmas time, and what he sees on the train, and then he goes into his memory bank and he starts reliving this one moment in his childhood at Christmas. And I can't believe I just put that out there for everybody, but go check it out. It warms my heart around Christmas time. So The Train by Celestial Navigation. That's the best I could do to narrow that stuff down.
I knew that would be a long-winded. I mean, it had to be. You just love too many of them.
Yep.
Favorite childhood memory, best childhood memory?
That was tough. That was really tough. That's tough for anybody. So the one that really came back to mind, I guess, can't really say it's the best, but one that came back to mind really clearly was the 4-year trip when I was a senior. Sarah was a junior, so we all took this high school trip to Chicago, and I lugged around. Her family had one of the old style camcorders. You put it on your shoulder, and you push the power button, and you had to time it outright. Like if you wanted to record, you had like a 5-minute warm-up. The screen wouldn't even show. And so I lugged that thing around Chicago for a few days, taking these awesome pictures, videos, whatever. And then even the pranks on the underclassmen next door to us, I got that all on film. We had a light. I wrapped the light in toilet paper so it dimmed it, and we were pranking these guys. And I had it all on video. And I lost it.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it was in the flood of 99. I'm pretty sure I loaned it to somebody and never got it back. So if anybody around our age, class of 99 or better, if you have that 1999 Chicago 4-year trip tape, I would love to get it back. I know it's not possible, but I loaned it to somebody and they never gave it back. And my kids would die to see that now. They'd die to see that.
Yeah.
It would. It'd be gold. But, oh,
wow. Favorite job you've ever had?
It's pretty much kind of what you were hinting to. Like sometimes it's not our real job. It's the things our heart is into. And this volunteer preaching thing that started a few years ago, I love that. I look forward to it. I love writing the sermon. It helps keep me fresh and stuff. But I love preaching the Word of God. It's fun. I'm not good at many things, but people say I'm okay at that. So.
Nice. So we're gonna hit the Wayback Machine because it wasn't only the McConaughey's that had a restaurant in Dunkerton.
Yep.
Bubba's family had a pizza restaurant in Dunkerton for a while.
Yeah.
And a certain somebody used to deliver pizzas on the weekend.
Yeah.
Where was your favorite place to deliver pizza?
So do you have a place in mind that you're thinking of? Like, I hope he says this or
No.
Okay.
I remember my dad was always excited to order pizza from you guys, and you would deliver it because you were always you, right? You're always going to chat somebody up a little bit, even if you don't have time. You're going to take a couple seconds, say, hey, what's going on? And my dad being in a wheelchair at the time, he didn't get out a ton,
right?
So it was always cool. You always took the time to even just talk to him for a second because the high school kid talked to me. That's awesome. I'd chalk that guy forever. Wow. So he remembered that, and I remember that from being a kid. But so I wondered what your favorite place was to deliver pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a few regulars that I can remember, and so the one that came to mind a lot was Sire's on Friday nights. Always. It was every Friday night. Jerry Sire's would order a pizza. And then somehow that turned into like Harper and Trevor and some of the guys. They would just hang out in front of the Pizza Depot. And they were like, well, let's get some pizza. And so my mom cooked up this big scheme on, what's the biggest pizza we can make? And so I think a couple different times those guys just hung out while I was working in the front yard of, the old locker building in Dunkerton.
Yep.
And my mom put it on like our biggest pan. It wasn't even a round pizza pan. It was like a 9x13, but it was square, but it was way bigger than 9 and it fit in the whole oven. And so she made this big like square pizza for them. And I was like, what do you guys do? I'm working, and you're just that was the good old days, man. That was the good old days. So yeah, I remember Jerry was excited to, and now I can look back on it now as a grown up, you understand. You hit Friday night, it's like, I did it. The work week's over. That's what he was doing.
Yep.
And he just loved the fact that you couldn't pick our pizza up and eat it. You had to put it on your plate. It did not have enough crust on the bottom to support all the toppings and the cheese. You had to put it on a plate and eat it with a fork, man. Shout out Jerry Sayers.
The commish.
That's right.
That's
right. Yeah, arguably there is no guy with more baseball knowledge in the city of Dunkerton. That guy knows everything.
Man, that guy is so. We spent so much time, whether it was just cutting up baseball or Legion ball or travel ball or IBL or
Babe Ruth League, whatever.
Gosh sakes, we spent so much time. Just whether it was playing or umpiring or just traveling. I mean, so. We spent so much time.
And he hasn't changed. I bump into him at Dunkerton Days every other year or so. I'll see him just after the parade or something. Same, Bubber, hey, old buddy, you good looking dog, come on over here. And just he will chat you up with baseball lingo nonstop, man.
He is the one guy in life that calls me Chewy. He always called me Matt Chew, and somehow that turned into Chewy.
Yeah.
And so anytime I see him now, Chewy, you good looking dog. The same line, right? That's so good. I love.
He's got his own lexicon for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome. Oh man. All right. Well, that's it. That's enough of the turntables. We're closing in on an hour here. We're going to get to the What Is Up segment. Matt picked some really good stuff to talk about. So you responded, you said, okay, the serious stuff, what I want to comment on is the fact that just because we have a disagreement doesn't mean we can't talk, and that you love that I kind of promote that message. So, you say we gotta, well, I'm not gonna read all this stuff. You can see the same thing I am, but what are you thinking when you say that?
So it seems like, and you actually just hit on it with your episode about Tom, and talking about President Trump's assassination attempt. Mm-hmm. Why do our ideas and our ideals get so polarizing that we can't have a discussion?
Right.
Like, you can have you love the Raiders, I love the Vikings. Now, granted, that's simple football stuff, right?
Yeah.
But what should your love for the Raiders and my love for the Vikings ever come to a reason that we can't speak to each other?
No.
AFC football, it's terrible. NFC is the only kind of football. I know that's kind of a dumbed down example, but it's no different than left to right, top, bottom, up, down. Doesn't matter. Why do our ideas have to get so polarizing to where like we alienate people in relationships just because we can't talk? Like I can give you my opinion and you don't have to like it, and you can give me your opinion and I don't have to like it. And
it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it and have civil conversation, and we might just have to agree to disagree. And that should be okay. Like it seems like we've lost the ability to just have conversation. Like it has to be all in or all out, and life just doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. No, you sent back to me something that says, it's a lost art anymore. The Bible says, "Be slow to speak and quick to listen." It's anymore. We've got our minds made up. If you don't fall in line with that, I got no time for you. And yeah, you're right. That's just not.
I'm not listening to you. I'm listening to respond. I'm not listening to understand.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. I got you. Which is basically ignoring with your gun in the holster, ready to fire. That's all it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's. So my thought on that is, I think how it gets so polar, because I wasn't into politics really. Like you say, you've always kind of had a political science minded type mentality, but I can remember, I don't think it was this bad. Like say in our high school days, it bounced around, what was it? Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush.
Yep.
Obama.
Yep.
So, it was always kind of flip-flopping. I think it's getting to the point now where the lack of debate of idea, because our lines are drawn, we can't cross them. I think because of that, it's now like people feel attacked if you disagree with them. And once you feel attacked, you either push back or you just put up a wall.
Right.
So either way, there's no communicating at that point. I will say from my point of view, and that's why I kind of, discuss worldview on this podcast quite a bit, because it's okay to not have the same worldview I have or whatever. But some of this stuff, I do feel there is an attack on morality. So that doesn't mean I should not be willing to listen. I want to know why you feel the way you feel. I want to know why you think, like last night at the opening ceremony of the Olympics, there was a whole drag queen segment of them mocking Da Vinci's Last Supper, which is pretty much mocking, Christianity. I despise that. I think it's wrong. I think, being a drag queen or dressing in drag, I think it's a perversion. I think it's a fetish. I don't think it's something we should be forced to accept. But I'm not going to start, shooting at these people or, tell me why you think that's okay. Tell me why you think, drag queen story hour is okay. Tell me why. I'm willing to listen. I do research all the time. I listen to people's testimonies all the time, try and figure out where they're coming from. And I find stuff out. A lot of the time I do. But if you're not even willing to listen or see where people are coming from, we're not going to get anywhere. It's just that polarization, like you said, it's just going to keep getting farther and farther and farther.
The world is way more center than either of the fringes will allow us to think.
Correct.
Like the fringes have loud voices, and the voices in the middle get shouted down.
Yeah.
The world is far more center, whether it's center left or center right.
Correct.
The world is far more center than it is than the extremists would love for us to think.
Well, and that's why the world keeps, or at least let's just speak the country. That's why the country's still running. We still get up and go to work every day.
Yep.
We don't, because that stuff's not going to consume us. It's not, for sure. I love that point. That's a good point. But yeah, I do. I just think when people feel attacked, that's when the pushback comes. That's when the violence starts. That's when the shouting. That's when the I hate you. It's tough to do. It's tough to manage. But communication, debate of idea. If you think I'm wrong or you think I'm, what did I just say? If I think you're wrong or you think I'm wrong, what's wrong with debating the idea or the stance?
Nothing. And you still have the ability to hate the sin.
And
but you got to love the sinner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gratitude, grace, and a little bit of space.
But see, yes. But I think once you make your claim that I think what you're doing is wrong, if we're kind of narrowing in on one specific aspect here, once I make that claim, they're done with me. They don't want to hear from me.
Right.
They have no respect for me. They don't want to care what I think because I won't affirm something or I won't agree with something. We got to get past that. We do got, because there are people who are coming out of those lifestyles all the time or those opinions or those stances. The world's always changing.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. But I like that. The world is way more centered than the media kind of lets us think. It really is.
Well, and that's the other thing is, and I don't know if it's just because there's so many more channels and more options for opinion. But, back in the day when it was just the big three and you watched the news, you didn't have another slant to get. So it could have been left. It could have been right. It didn't matter. You were going to, the days of Walter Cronkite allegedly being the centerpiece of the news. I don't know if that was the case either. We have more options now, but it just, you say it a lot. You have to go and do your homework. You have to go and do your research. You were just talking about it on the last episode that I was listening to. You were just talking about the decisiveness on making sure that you do your own research and making sure that you go and get your other opinions.
Yeah.
You can't just single source what you need to get. You can't go to Hy-Vee and get everything you need to get. Sometimes you got to go to Aldi. Sometimes you got to go to Walmart. Sometimes you got to go to Target.
Yeah.
You can't do that with your opinions either. You have to go and search out alternative thoughts to confirm what you know or what you think you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is why Tara Thomas Getman said, when she saw CNN launch when she was a young kid, she was like, I want to do that. I want to be part of this cable news network, this 24-hour news cycle. And by the time she left KWWL, she flat out said, journalism is dead. Mm-hmm. You are going to get a skewed, biased opinion. You have to get multiple sources. You have to think for yourself. You got to think critically. If somebody's telling you not to think critically, to think or believe a certain way based on where you live, the color of your skin, your gender, your political party, if they're telling you you got to fall in line, get the heck out of there.
Right.
You're a human being. God gave you a mind to think for yourself. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. We'll come out better that way, I promise you. Okay, let's move on. Men and women's sports. You said you wanted to hit on that, and that'll kind of lead into our last one too as well. What is up with men and women's sports?
I personally, roasted or not, it's my opinion, and we can agree to disagree, right? That's kind of what we just got done talking about. I think it's terrible. Like the makeup of men and women are not the same. Like, they're just not.
Right.
And so if a woman chooses to compete against a man, that's fine. But a man identifying as something else to compete against females, I have an issue with.
Sure.
You know, that's just, and it's just that simple. Like
you're saying from the biology standpoint.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Like, I mean, you can choose to live however you choose to live. And I'm not going to tell you what to do, right, wrong, or indifferent. My opinion can be my opinion, and that's fine. And if I choose to share it with you, and if I choose not to share it with you, I can still keep that to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, you look at like Leah Thomas swimming against the girls and being a very mediocre male swimmer, and then going and crushing all of the female swimmers. Like, from a women's rights movement or pedestal or whatever you want to call that, like, how are women okay with that? Like, how is it okay to let some? It's probably controversial, but I mean, it's very controversial. But I don't understand, like, how you stand on a pulpit and want all of the same rights and responsibilities and everything that are totally applicable. Like, I agree with that, but then to let a biological male come and beat up on you in an athletic event that, by rights, they shouldn't be in.
They're right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you see not only Leah Thomas, but like I can't remember the name of the volleyball player that, you know, I mean, literally like crushed a girl's face with a volleyball because, you know, I mean,
he hits harder.
Right. Just how it is. So I don't.
Yeah. I don't go with the, you know, a lot of what they're trying to do is say, well, if their T levels are down to this point, then we consider them male. If they've hit puberty, there's just biological advantages, period, end of story. And then if you start talking about, well, let's hit it before puberty, and I've done a lot of research on this, you know, Matt Walsh's What is a Woman documentary, he talks to doctors, you know what I mean? American Family Association did In His Image, great documentary. You start finding out, you're going to start altering that stuff before kids hit puberty. They'll like to say they can just push pause on puberty and then we can resume it later if they change. You don't give kids cross-sex hormones. Find out what happens when you do. It's not all unicorns and rainbows. It's not working out. These kids are being harmed. I agree with you 100%. It's just not right, in my opinion. I don't know how more people don't see that, but it's not. I know a lot of parents are emotionally blackmailed, saying if your kid's confused, you need to encourage their transition or they're going to commit suicide. And, you know, I've talked to Ryan Nesbitt about this stuff and the work they do with Alive and Running and mental health and stuff. And the more I dig into it, is there's plenty of kids who go through with this sort of thing, and there is no pot of gold at the end. They go through with the surgeries, they go through with this stuff, and they're not fulfilled. They're not happy. They still have major mental struggles. Some end up trying to revert back, and then they speak out and realize, oh, no, there's been more harm done to me than I was led on. So now that's going to be the turning point in America, and I think we're kind of seeing it because it's already started in other countries that were ahead of us. They're starting to ban the puberty blockers and the gender reassignment surgeries. And then I just saw you mention Ainsley might attend a NAIA college, right? I don't know if you saw this, but they put out a thing that said we're not going to have any of that transgender competition in any colleges that fit under that umbrella. It's just not going to happen. Okay. And I thought, okay, so that's like a smaller conference or whatever you call it, right? Yep. But that's where it starts. Certain hospitals now, we start saying, hey, we need to stop doing this. The data's not in, or it's not coming in at what we thought it was going to do. We're harming, we're not helping. There's got to be another way to help the mental condition of these kids. So I honestly, I see it starting to turn in our country. I do. And I want to help those people. And I know there's help to be had. I've read plenty of information. I've listened to people's testimonies, and like you and me were just talking off air, like, how come the people that have been affected by this and they come through it, how come their testimony, their story of how they dealt with it, how come that's not being lifted up and shouted and published and spread around? If we really care about the kids or these people that are confused, this is an opportunity to help them. Why is that getting shouted down? And yet the other side is being promoted. It's not right. You got to get different. You got to look for your information out there. It's out there. There's plenty of good stuff.
allowing things is one thing. Promoting things is another.
Yeah.
Like society in general, I mean, kind of even just getting away from this particular topic, but, encouraging your narrative, like really pushing your point, not just allowing somebody to take your point. And then, I'm going to set it here. If you want it, that's great. As Christians, I think that's something that we do a lot of is like, plant the seed, right? Just like selling a guy trying to give a guy free chips for life. You plant the seed, right? And then you let it grow on its own, and you help water it and you help nurture it, and whatever that topic may be, whether it's faith, whether it's family, whether it's job, whatever the case may be, I talk about like Ainsley Bowling a lot, but if she doesn't want to do those things, then don't do them.
Right.
Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity for you. If you want to take it, great. If you don't want to take it, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
Just be 100% convicted and happy in what it is you do and where it is you do it and who you surround yourself from. But,
sure.
Those ideas don't have to necessarily be delivered. They can just be set there and let somebody pick it up and take it away. We don't we do such a disservice to some people when we just beat on people with our opinions.
Force feed them.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't work. That drives people away for sure. That's good talk. Good conversation. Okay, last one. You said, what is up with seeing gender and race in every space? Why is that the first thing we go to anymore?
I think it's just exactly what we just talked about. I mean, the two things kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's like we don't see people. I mean, Joe Biden said it in his last election campaign, right? Like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, why do black people have to vote for Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Why can't they pick like everybody else?
Yep.
Why is it stereotyped into a certain group that, no, you have to do this because this is what you are?
Right.
Well, no, we are what we create of ourselves. We're not a product of, we are a product of environment, but that doesn't mean that's the way we stay.
Right.
You get to change your environment to change who you are.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with certain people, you're probably going to come out a lot like those people.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with other people, you're probably going to come out like those people. So, but why it always has to be, it's a women's issue. It's a cultural issue. It's a transgender issue. It's a Christian issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's, why does it have to be, why is everything pigeonholed into something else?
Sure.
Is it just to create narrative? Is it just to make sure that it fits in a box? Like, well, we can talk about it because it sits like this, not because it might have differing opinions. And, well, we really support this one, so that's what we're going to talk about. Well,
yeah,
it kind of goes back to being able to agree to disagree and discuss ideas and formulate opinions.
Yeah.
Like, well, why can't we just do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I tell my kids all the time, I say, if somebody's not willing to listen to the other side, it's not a good situation. You want to get all sides. You want to hear all versions. You want to hear the other side of the issue or whatever it may be. You can't do that. It's just, I don't know. A lot of people think it's intentional. Like if you study Marxism, it's very simple. Divide people into two groups, pit them against each other. Who's going to come in and save the day? The government. Apart from God, Marx, he hated God. He went to his grave hating God. I get that, along with Freud and a lot of others. But it's very simple. Just divide, pit them against each other. Back then it was class, and now critical race theory and stuff like that is trying to make it about race again. Like we haven't moved in the right direction in this country, stuff like that. As long as there's division, you know what I mean? We need Big Daddy government to maybe have the answer. And I think you're saying we're individuals. We're human beings. We don't need the government to solve our every problem, because I think the media is creating a lot of the division we see. Like you said, we're way more center than the TV would let on, or the news would let on. We're probably, maybe that's the answer right there. Maybe we just shut off the TVs and the social media for a while and just go back 50 years or whatever. Maybe we'd be a lot better off. I don't know, but yeah. So that's our challenge to you. Try not to see gender, race, your economic status, whatever it may be. It doesn't, if you're a deer worker, you got to vote a certain way. No, you don't. Don't see those categories. We're all human beings. I personally think created in the image of God. You've got a mind to think with. We're different than the animals. We didn't all just come from one thing. Look at how much different we are. We're created in the image of God. We can critically think about things, make your own opinion, make your own decisions. Okay? Get your information. Any last words of wisdom, Matthew McConaughy?
Man, I think people, if people are still listening, they've probably listened to me plenty long enough. The last thing, last quick story, and I'm going to, I do announcements before all of our events, right? And I've got a couple of guys that always give me, a couple of parents, they always give me grief because, like, as soon as you give me a microphone, like, it might be 5 minutes, it might be 25 minutes.
Okay,
but they will run a stopwatch on me doing announcements because they know I'm going to tangent someplace. So shout out to Peveril and Eric Smith if you guys listen to this.
Nice.
If you made it all the way to the end, congratulations. You guys get tired of listening to me. So
yeah, see, that's the one thing the analytics sometimes they show me is you've had this many views and you're like, oh, look at that number. That's such a big number. And then they break it down. They're like, here's 0 to 5 seconds. And there's like 25 of them. I'm like, So you just leave. That's why I say the funeral I did for Grandpa, for Tom DeLong, I was checking back on the views of that, and it was like 800 within a couple days. And then it went up to like 1.2 thousand. And I was like, either it's not because it was that great of a sermon or message. It was because Grandpa was that great of a guy.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's cool. It's okay to go off on tangents. That's good stuff. That's how you know you're getting from the heart right there. All right, Matt, I got to thank you for coming on, buddy. This was a lot of fun. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. That was really good discussion. We had fun earlier, and then we got serious there at the end. I think that's the kind of conversations people need to have and not be scared to have. It's okay, even if you end up just getting to the point of agree to disagree. We don't got to hate each other. So, to my audience, have you caught yourself looking around lately and asking, like, what is up with, whatever? For me lately, it was noticing that the California legislature had passed a bill, and then their governor signed it into law that bans any rule requiring school staff to disclose a student's gender identity or sexuality to anyone, including the parents, without the child's permission. I mean, whose kids are they? What is up with that? Why wouldn't the parents be notified if a kid was struggling or confused? Consider that kind of stuff. Like me and Matt were talking about. Do your research. Find out know what you believe, why you believe it. Find out where you stand on the issues. Find those candidates as you vote in the upcoming elections, whether they're local or they're federal. It doesn't matter. Okay? Does your candidate support that kind of thing? Keeping you in the dark if your kid was confused? Well, I ain't going to support them if they do. That's for sure. So how's this stuff happening? Why are things the way they are? I'll tell you, the answers can't be found down here. We got to look up. If we look to God and His Word, He will truly show you what is up. I still think the Bible gives the best answers, the best explanations. One of the best verses to explain some of this stuff is right here. It says, "For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear." You got problems? You got desires inside of you that you just can't help? Are you holding on to that excuse that you were just born that way? Jesus already thought of that one, guys. He said, so what? Be born again. If you were born that way, be born again. If you need more help or you want to know more, you can join me any Sunday at FBC Dunkerton, or you can watch online on our Facebook page if you're not in the area. If that ain't your thing, leave me a comment wherever you're listening. Leave it in the comment section. Email me at whatisappodcast@gmail.com, and I'll personally share the gospel with you so you can know for sure that God is real, that He loves you, and He wants a relationship with you. Yes, even you. I'm talking about you. If you haven't figured it out by now, there's nothing on this earth we can put our hope in. There's no person. There's no government. There's no podcaster or baseball statistician, no politician, no preacher. We got to look up, okay? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to follow us. Leave a 5-star review and a comment. Then let your opinion be heard. You want to have a voice? You want to be heard? Answer our poll question at the end of the episode. It's right there in the show notes. Or if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, leave a comment, then share it with everyone you know. I welcome feedback, questions, comments, even criticism. If you disagree with something me or Matt said, it's okay. Send it in. I'd love to do a mailbag episode, and I will give you some airtime, I promise you. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate all the support. I hope this episode really encouraged you. Lord willing, I'll talk to you on the next one. And I'll sneak in one more. All right. Matthew McConaughy.
All right.